Kenya, Egypt and Uganda launch Africa's first climate camera to space. Niger Delta pollution threatens lives, environment. 700 killed in Sudan, drone strikes as humanitarian crisis deepens. Middle East oil production plummets due to Iran war. Kenya, Egypt and Uganda launch Africa's first climate camera to space. Three African nations, Kenya, Egypt, and Uganda, have made history with the launch of the continent's first climate-focused space camera, in a mission reported by First Post Africa. The project, known as ClimCam, represents a major step forward in Africa's growing space ambitions. The camera was launched aboard a SpaceX rocket and is headed to the International Space Station, where it will be installed for Earth observation once operational. The system will use advanced imaging and artificial intelligence to monitor environmental changes across East Africa and beyond. It is designed to track critical climate patterns such as floods, droughts, shifting farmland conditions, and extreme weather events. Officials say the goal is to improve early warning systems and help governments respond faster to climate disasters that are becoming more frequent due to global warming. Beyond technology, the mission also marks a powerful symbol of African cooperation in space science. Instead of relying solely on foreign satellite data, these countries are now contributing their own tools and innovations to understand the planet. Experts believe this could open the door for more African-led space projects in the future, strengthening both scientific independence and regional collaboration. Niger Delta pollution threatens lives, environment. Good day, and welcome. We begin with growing concerns over environmental degradation in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, where pollution is increasingly threatening both human lives and the ecosystem. Reports indicate that continuous oil spills, gas flaring, and industrial waste discharge have severely contaminated rivers, farmlands, and air quality across the region. Communities in the Niger Delta region are facing rising cases of waterborne diseases, declining fish populations, and loss of agricultural productivity. Local residents say they are struggling to access clean drinking water, while fishermen report that their daily catch has dropped drastically over the years. Environmental experts warn that if urgent action is not taken, the damage could become irreversible, affecting not just the region but also Nigeria's overall environmental stability. Authorities and oil operating companies have repeatedly pledged cleanup efforts and stronger regulations, but affected communities argue that implementation remains slow and ineffective. Activists are now calling for stricter enforcement of environmental laws, faster remediation of polluted sites, and greater accountability from responsible stakeholders as the situation unfolds. The Niger Delta remains a critical reminder of the balance between natural resource extraction and environmental protection. This is the latest update on the environmental crisis in the region. 700 killed in Sudan, drone strikes as humanitarian crisis deepens. The United Nations had raised alarm over escalating violence in the Sudan, where recent drone strikes have reportedly killed around 700 people, worsening an already fragile humanitarian situation. According to UN officials, the attacks mark a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict, further deepening suffering among civilians who are already facing shortages of food, medicine, and safe shelter. Entire communities have been displaced as fighting intensifies across several regions, forcing thousands to flee their homes in search of safety. Humanitarian agencies warn that access to affected areas remains extremely limited, making it difficult to deliver urgent aid. The United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire and renewed diplomatic efforts, urging all parties to protect civilians and allow humanitarian corridors to operate without obstruction. Aid workers on the ground describe worsening conditions, with hospitals overwhelmed and critical supplies running out rapidly. Experts warn that without urgent international intervention, the crisis could spiral further out of control as the conflict continues. Global attention is now focused on preventing further loss of life and stabilizing the humanitarian situation in Sudan. This is the latest update from the region. Middle East oil production plummets due to Iran war. Global energy markets are facing severe disruption as oil production across the Middle East has reportedly plummeted following the ongoing war involving Iran. According to recent reports from OPEC and international energy agencies, crude output in key Gulf producers has fallen sharply as conflict-related instability continues to affect major export routes, especially the Strait of Hormuz, a critical passage for global oil shipments. Data shows that production cuts have been recorded across several countries in the region, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, as security concerns and damaged infrastructure force reductions in output. Analysts say the disruption has tightened global supply, driving up oil prices and raising fears of sustained inflation across fuel and transport sectors worldwide. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has warned that continued instability could deepen supply shortages and further destabilize global energy markets. Meanwhile, the International Energy Agency says the crisis represents one of the most significant oil supply shocks in decades, with millions of barrels per day temporarily removed from the market. Humanitarian and economic concerns are also rising, as energy-dependent economies brace for further shocks if the conflict continues. As the situation develops, attention remains focused on diplomatic efforts to restore stability and secure global energy flows. This is the latest update from the Middle East energy crisis. And that's all we have for you today on Top Escalate News. From breaking headlines across Africa to major developments shaping the world, we remain committed to bringing you accurate, fast, and reliable updates every single time. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay connected with us for more stories that matter.